Chase uses it quite often.
Oh, cool. Okay, we are live now in the Facebook group and YouTube. I have Paulson with me from HighLevel. And if someone hasn't heard my backstory yet, I started off working in a roofing business, and I was the office manager there. And then the marketing director of that company left, and the operations and operations manager and the owner came to me saying, Jenna, we think you might actually enjoy marketing from all the things that you've been putting together. And so it was a natural fit for me. I grew up in the home services field. My mom was a real estate agent and my dad was a plumber. My grandpa owns 42 home rental homes. And my uncle owns a custom home builder business. So then about 4 years later, my boyfriend approached me and said, hey, will you come work for my dad? I said, let me think about it for a while. So then I said yes, and he is now my husband, and we now own the business. Um, and then after we had our first child, I started my own agency. So got that business of his family business up and rolling on the digital marketing side, and then started my own digital agency after we had our first child. So if you haven't heard my backstory, that is a little bit of that. I found HighLevel about 2 years ago now, and I have been just thoroughly enjoying it. Started the first year really just diving in for my company and like learning it for myself. And now I'm up to about 20 users and then several affiliates.
Awesome. So those of you that may not know me, my name is Paulson. I watched Jenna really just take off with her business over the last, I think, year and a half, 2 years. It's incredible things what this platform can do. And it's really cool seeing someone very successful with it. So Jenna, thanks for having me. I feel like a superstar over here with the streaming.
You kind of are. Well, thank you for coming and joining us. So I told Paulson before we hopped on that about the poll we did in our group a while back. Got some, I feel like, involved people in our group. So we wanted to talk about sales and leads today in response to agency and SaaS owners.
Yeah, so sales is actually the lost art in the agency world. Mostly everybody knows a lot of tech stuff and they watch a lot of content around features and configurations and solutions. Sales to me, it's typically difficult because people get rejected quite often and price points are too high and the industries typically are very saturated. So sales becomes very difficult unless you love it. So then if you don't love it, then you'll find yourself doing other things in the marketing space. I happen to love it, and it's something that I've always cared a lot about. I felt like I can talk to people more than building out workflows, and I rather not trust myself when it comes to building out workflows. So I stay in my lane. But it is possible. We have a lot of programs and courses around things like that. That helps people. And we had the summit where people can get together and learn a lot of different strategies as well. If you want to talk about that, Jenna, but do you have specific questions that we should dive into when it comes to sales or?
Oh, what do you feel like the most successful SaaS agencies are out there kind of piloting as far as like leads and sales that you see time and time again?
Well, I think there's a pattern in how SaaS agencies are launching and how they're scaling. So, like, you don't have first a couple of things that I want to just kind of demystify. It's okay to not only do SaaS by itself. People do SaaS, people do services together with SaaS. But at the end of the day, the value of having SaaS as a product line in your marketing agency is really important because that's the only product line that we know is very low churn, whether you mix it with other things or not. So I am a huge proponent of being able to offer SaaS. Now, how does that relate to an agency? Maybe some of you that are watching and you're new to HighLevel or don't know really much about HighLevel. HighLevel is like a Legoland, I would call it. And in this Legoland, you can create your own configurations with different shapes and colors and sizes. And we have a plethora of almost like 550 plus features. Doesn't mean your clients all need it. You can grab the 20 features that make sense for your industry and then go out to the market and keep 100% of the revenue and create subscription oriented offers for yourself. And that's why we at High Level are teaching agency owners to become SaaSpreneurs quite often, is because of the stability in the book of business, right? The second thing that I want to demystify is leading with a bunch of different features is not going to work, right?
Mhm.
You need to narrow it down to maybe one Trojan horse that makes sense to get your foot in the door and then expand from there. So, what are some of these sample Trojan horses that I see successful SaaS agencies run? Is the missed call text back, the other is reviews, the other is the GMB chat, and then also the mobile app. These four are the rock solid front runners when it comes to the Trojan horses that I've seen as a pattern quite often. And this allows you to land into the business and then expand from there, where you can turn on SMS features and funnels and landing pages and things that kind of nurture leads or support sales activities in general. But having a Trojan horse leading with one is I think the second big thing that I've seen a lot of successful SaaSpreneurs launch.
Yeah, and to highlight on your first point, it's you're becoming a utility bill, where like so many agencies are like that. The most expensive thing on a home service provider's list at the end of the month, and like, oh, do I really need this? Can I show what I got back on this? And with your SaaS, it's like easy to show like this is what we did for you. Whereas like especially with SEO, it's so hard to be like this is my concrete ROI.
Yeah.
Whereas like with to get them up on those first five things, like for them to say that you didn't do anything for them for whatever your offering is for those first like five easy wins, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's a
Yeah.
utility bill at that point. They're not going to
Yeah.
get rid of you.
Yeah, 1000%. And really what you want to pay attention to when you build offers is making sure your offer is quantifiable, right? If you can numerically attach a number to the result,
Mhm.
quite often you can justify. So, for example, I want to be able to say, hey, roofing business, I brought you 10 appointments this week, and out of the 10 appointments, you were able to close new businesses that you didn't have. That is a much easier conversation that I can attribute a certain result to, versus, let's say, something like we handled your website branding, right? So like website
Mhm.
branding necessarily does not have a quantifiable, attributable result that says because your branding was nice, you brought in this much money to the business. Like, of course, we know there's a value to it. We know it's good for the business to make sure it's professional and nice and interactive, but it's hard to justify a certain sale that you have to attach to the business. And that's the type of thinking that we encourage, is making sure you have offers that are quantifiable, and that eases a lot of pain when it comes to being able to offer and justify a certain price point, a certain type of experience, SaaS versus SaaS with services versus high ticket services. There's a few different ways to skin the cat, but hopefully that get some people thinking on how to actually build up an offer.
Yeah. And do you remember if because the prospecting tool, I love the fact that that's there
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Do you remember if that's on the $97 plan?
I believe it is. Mostly every feature now is available on almost every account. The only big difference is our 497 plan obviously automates a lot of the SaaS subscription billing,
Yeah.
billing of usage like SMS or email, as well as license oriented subscriptions as well. And then you want to create subscription plans that you throw into like a funnel and things like
Mhm.
that. But
And
really,
for me, the one that a lot of people don't know about is that agency API key is
oh
huge.
yeah. Oh yeah. So then what exactly is an API? It's basically a communication bridge between platforms, right? So
Mhm.
it allows you to import and export data. So for example, let's say you're working with the healthcare client and they have an EMR or an electronic medical record system that they use to do calendar booking, but you want to make sure that information is essentially visible on your CRM for them as well. So then you can create an API communication bridge or Zap or whatever you want to call it to just fulfill that gap. And that's only allowed, I think, in the 497 plan as well, or the 297, or the one of the higher plans. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, you have 8 like sub account API keys on the 297, and I think even on the $97 plan now. But
Okay.
the key difference, in my opinion, is like you can hook it up to other pieces of software and then see all your sub accounts in there, so you don't have to go in and do the individual API keys.
Yeah.
So when you're hooking up with third party softwares, it's just a no brainer to have that. Saves you
Yeah.
so much time and energy.
Yeah, and I tell people this all the time. I'm not the brightest tech wizard in the company. I'm more of a sales-oriented person. So Jenna, you
Yeah,
probably know more than I do
I
when it
think you do
comes
great at it, all the
to
workshops and everything. I love your backstory, your dentistry
Oh
backstory.
yeah, oh yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank
If you
you.
guys haven't heard his dentistry backstory, it's great. Going out, bringing donuts to the dentist.
Yeah, and for some reason, dentists love sweet stuff because they know they can clean their teeth right away. So then it's like they'll take all the desserts and bun cakes and donuts that I used to bring, and that's how we would literally go door to door to land first couple of round of customers, and that worked in 2014, 13 days. Um, but one thing I think that really helped me is being in the right place at the right time with the right group of people. So I would pay for masterminds, going to conferences, and making sure I connected with folks that are already building and already have success with the type of business models that I was interested in. And then from there, those relationships take you further, and you
Mhm.
learn different things. And I think that's the big secret. So if you didn't come to High Levels conference, you missed out. We're getting ready to launch an offer tomorrow. Today's Wednesday. Yeah, no, day after tomorrow, Thursday, for our Dallas mastermind. So, like another example of making sure you're
Mhm.
in a cohort of people, and that's really what I can attribute to on my own personal growth.
Yeah, I can certainly attribute you to that. I have been a part of 2 masterminds this year. One with Matt Decino and then one with some
Yeah,
with another person. And it's really like helped my business like exponentially. Not only that, but my confidence. And so it's funny like the things that you do in your business that help you in unexpected ways, but um taking the time to be under a mentor and then mentoring someone else, I feel like also helps you apply the things that you've learned.
absolutely. And they say, yeah, for the best learning, you have to teach somebody or something like
Mhm.
that. There's a big famous quote I can't think of, but
You know you've is it I think it's something along the lines of you know you've mastered somebody if you can be the teacher.
correct. Yeah, exactly. And that's what most agencies should do when it comes to SaaS and SWAS and agency services. Like, get to a point where your confidence is so well put where you can go out to do sales with a lot of confidence.
Mhm.
Most people don't have their confidence from fulfillment because they're either unaware of how to fulfill properly, or they don't generate the results they promise. So a lot of times when you get the fulfillment kind of down pack, your voice and your tonality on sales kind of elevate because you have that confidence on what you're going to deliver to the clients. But hopefully that those are some insightful things.
Yeah. I think one thing that also helped me, like, in my sales process is not showing the back end of high level. No one cares. Um, so showing them like how like the results, looking at their Google business profile with them, showing them like, okay, with more reviews, this will help you get higher in the 3 pack. Not promising them SEO, but just educating the client more and not. I mean, you want to sell, the fixed wall instead of the hammer. So instead of like selling them all the features and the back end, it'll overwhelm them. So just showing them how it's going to benefit them rather than all the little key parts.
Yeah, in a lot of our programs, even at the mastermind and the conferences and things like that, we teach how to lead with one offer, and missed call, text back, GMB, reviews, and mobile app. Those are the four Trojan horses that I think everybody should experiment in almost every
Mhm.
industry, and just don't talk about any other features. And then when you
Yeah.
jump in for an onboarding call, what you want to do is just turn on all the other features as if it's like an additional bonus, like as if you're just out of the goodness of your heart, you're just providing more value, right? That's literally
Yeah.
how you want to position it, because what you want in software is usage. You want your users to actually log in and use the platform. And if you can get them to use the platform past that 15 to 20-day mark, you typically will have a stable client for many years to come. And that's the golden goose egg that I think that a lot of
Hmm.
SaaSpreneurs are missing, is they don't know what to lead with. They don't know an actual Trojan horse that they feel comfortable about in leading to an industry. So again, it's missed call text back, GMB chat, reviews, and mobile app. These are the four very, very popular ones that we see now thousands of agencies scale with.
Hmm. Yeah, Matt calls it surprise and delight.
Sure,
Um,
call it that. That
yeah, with those back end things that you're just loading into the account, the surprise and delight offer just, I mean, they're like, "Wow, this is great. Like I had no idea it could do all this." Like one nugget that just got released was the automatic like review replies.
oh
And I
yeah.
didn't even know it got released. And somebody texted me, they said, "Oh, this is great. Lead Gen is posting reviews for me automatically." Like review replies. And I was like, "Oh, that's great. I'm so glad you love it." Like I didn't even know it was released yet. There was no Sean coming at you video. And so that was, there's just those surprise and delight things that customers love. And so little things that you can set up to help your customers and make quick wins for them, I feel like are so powerful.
Yeah, and it's really the positioning of it and how you present those offers and features to the client and help them understand the context of how they can apply to their business, right? So
Hmm.
if you see a new like web chat, for example, now we have live chat that's actually
Yes.
available, but you have to spend a little bit of time with that customer and say, okay, here's the difference between automated chat versus live chat, right? But here's the
Hmm.
pros and cons, right? You have to now have somebody field it versus nobody was fielding anything, right?
Yeah.
So that can cause delays if it's not handled properly. So it's really about educating the customer of pros and cons on a lot of these things. But I think there is something for everybody to choose from when it comes to high
Hmm.
level.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming on. We'll trying
Yeah.
to respect your time today, Paulson. Sure. Thank
Okay.
you. And hope to have you on again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a pleasure. And if you haven't signed up for a high level trial, I don't know what you're waiting on.
Yeah.
Talk to Jenna
I'll
about it.
link,
She'll help you.
link the link, put the link below.
That's right. Okay. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, Paulson. Bye.
Okay.